Hi everyone, welcome to technical writing class. And today let's have an overview on what technical writing is all about. So let's start. So here let's define first what technical writing is all about. Technical writing class is a type of writing where the author is writing about a particular subject that requires direction, instruction, or explanation. This style of writing has a very different purpose and different characteristics than other writing styles, such as creative writing, the one you made, your essays, reflection paper, etc. Those are also part of academic writing or business writing. All right. So that is a difference between other forms of your writing and then to technical writing. So there are characteristics of technical writing. The first one, it should be clear. Technical writing presents information clearly, leaving little to no room for misunderstanding. It requires the use of clear, concise sentences. Then straightforward. It requires relaying information in a way that it is direct and straight to the point without the use of literary devices. So in your essays, you can actually use other literary devices or your poems, but in technical writing, we try to avoid with that, with the use of literary devices. Then it should be precise. The language used in technical writing should be very precise, describing objects and procedures in an exact manner. Then easily understood. Effective technical writers avoid words that people may not understand and will avoid an eloquent writing style, right? And then we have denotative meanings. Yeah, there is actually typographic error here. So it needs to have D. Okay, so pardon me with that. This type of writing relies on denotative meanings of words to ensure that misunderstandings don't occur due to differing interpretations based on connotation. All right, so you have to discuss or describe it very well. And so it should be detailed. Technical writing is very detailed and informative, leaving nothing to the imagination. The perfect example of technical writing is a textbook. Most textbooks describe the subject matter as fully as possible. So that's why you notice we easily understand the content. Then it should be very structured. Technical writing is very structured. This type of writing needs to have an obvious composition that makes it easy for readers to follow along the way. The audience need to be able to rely on technical writing for a step-by-step procedures or instructions. Then it should also be skimmable, right? Technical documentation should be designed with skimmability in mind, so it's easy for the readers to scan through the full document and easily find information they need. Technical writers should incorporate meaningful, descriptive headings and include a thorough table of contents or indexed. Then it should also be problem-solving focus. Technical documents should be created with problem-solving in mind. Readers use these documents to learn how to perform certain tasks or gain technical information. So they should be easy to follow and organized in a way that it is easy to refer back to our questions that will come up. Okay? So I hope it's clear. Then let's have this one, what is correspondence is all about, right? So what are we trying to say? Okay. So we are actually looking for, we are trying to define or describe a business letter. Okay, so we call that one correspondence. Business letter writing is one of the oldest forms of business correspondence, but it's still an important skill to master. It is very vital to balance the engaging tone of a letter with the formal expectations of a business setting. When you need to convey basic information to a group of recipients, nothing does the job better than an old-fashioned memorandum. Getting a memo right is all about clarity and concision. Get right to the point, make it clear what is required of the reader, and thank them for their cooperation. Right? So that is one. Memorandum, interoffice memo is also one example of that. Writing a good email too is harder than it sounds. However, emails are less formal than letters, but it should still be a way of showing our professionalism, especially when you write your teacher. They also need to pack as much information into as letter text as possible. Okay. Then proposals are a unique type of formal business communication. All of the common kinds of business writing, proposals are probably the most dependent on form. Getting that form right and using it to achieve your goal is vital skills in the modern business. So I'm talking about business proposals in which you're going to have an activity with this probably in module 3. Okay. But you will be guided. So start with our basic. We don't need with this one. Those are actually the tips of the writer. So let's proceed to the uses of technical writing class. Technical writing, straightforward, right? Easy to understand, and then the explanations or instructions are well structured, well detailed, dealing with a particular subject, and then the efficient and clear way of explaining something and how it works. So it should be tangible, right? Something that can be seen or touched, such as computer or software program or information on how to assemble a piece of furniture, right? So you notice there are actually instruction, procedures, what are you going to do, okay? So and for us to design or to make something, the instructions should be clearly stated. Okay, so that means it is tangible. Then abstract, something that involves series of steps that aren't related to tangible object. One example of this might be steps required to complete an office process. Okay, so abstract. You cannot see, but the whole thing is there. You can actually read and then analyze the things that you need to do. So abstract. Some examples of technical writing include instruction manuals, policy, process, user manuals, report analysis, instructions for assembling a product, then summarization of a long report that highlights and shortens the most important elements. So those are examples of technical writing. Then tips for good technical writing class. You should know your audience. Who are your audience? An expert in the field will understand certain abbreviations, right? So do not assume that your audience know what kind of abbreviation or the meaning of that particular word or abbreviation you are trying to refer to or say or write. The acronyms and then lingo that directly applies to such field. Okay. The novice will not understand in the same manner, and therefore every detail must be explained and spelled out for them. So when you give instructions, use simple words, okay, and that would easily understand by your audience or your readers. Use an impersonal style, write from a third person perspective, like a teacher instructing a student. Any opinion should be omitted, okay, especially on the use of you. You should do like this, you should do like that. Okay. The writing should be straightforward to the point, as simple as it is possible to make sure the reader understands the process or instruction. Okay? And then the times may appear as simply a list of steps to take achieve the desired goal or maybe short or lengthy explanation of a concept or abstract idea. So know how to research, gather information class from a number of sources, understand the information gathered so that it can be analyzed thoroughly, and then put the information into easy to understand format, easy manner, to understand the format, to instruct those audience that you need to, your target audience that they need to read. The more inexperienced your audience, the more information you will need to gather and explain, okay? So that you will not be misunderstood by them and they also achieve what they want, okay? from the instruction you gave to them. Be thorough in description and provide enough detail to make your points, but you also have to consider that you need to use an economy of words so that you do not bore your reader with gratuitous detail. Then formatting and language are the basic design elements of technical documentation. Format that shows hierarchical structure and then coordinate structure information leads the reader read the text. Then use appropriate language, right? Simple language, which are very significant in providing the reader with a thorough understanding of the purpose of the documents that you are trying to let them read. Then how the document relates to the reader's needs and what action is expected of the reader. A document may have one reader, a primary reader, several readers, secondary readers. Primary reader is the person who ordered the report to be written or the person or whom the report is intended. These readers will usually read the entire report. Secondary readers are those readers who will read only the sections of the report that relate to our specific job, their jobs, their departments and responsibilities. So those are secondary readers. Academic writing versus technical writing. The definite purpose, strict format, and use of appropriate language in technical writing define the differences between technical writing and academic writing. The academic writer's purpose may be to write an assignment, a story, a letter. The one you are actually making, you are making a reflective essay rather. That is an example of academic writing. Or your position paper perhaps, in which you are required to make your position paper. That is one example of academic writing. This works may or may not have a reader. However, technical writing always a definite purpose and will always have a reader. So a little bit formal the technical writing. Sorry for that. And then, regardless of the number of the intended readers of the document who may or may not read the document will be read by the primary reader. So take note of that. Then there's also ethics and technical writing. Technical writings like you have a very responsibility to their readers and to their employers to follow ethics when writing reports. Technical writers must use words that demonstrate valid appeals to reason and avoid words and phrases that appeal to basic emotion instead of justifiable reasoning. So take note of that. Also, technical writers must use valid references to support ideas and strategies, avoiding referencing non-experts to sway readers' support. Technical writers must use accurate numbers to report data, avoiding charts and tables that skew data. Using any type of fallacies and technical writing is unethical and could result in dire consequences, right? You are actually making things complicated. Okay. Not only do technical writers have responsibility to report accurate information. So if you're talking about statistics, you have to present the statistics, the data accurately. Okay. They also have responsibility to create an accurate source of information. Where do you get those information? Okay. And that information or source or sources should be valid or legitimate. Okay. And no time it is acceptable to rearrange information in order to attempt to indicate that the writer is the source of someone else's idea or indicate that the writer read a report that included information he or she cited when the primary source of the information was cited in another report. All sources must be referenced accurately in the text and cited on reference page. So you have to include, for example, when you are actually asked to make a certain report, so the references, the resources that where you get this information should be included in your reference page, right? So I think that would be all, and then I hope you try to view or you have viewed already our activity, right? So if you have questions or clarifications with that, feel free to message me directly. Thank you very much for your participation.